Sempra and TransCanada are trying to send pipelines through Mexico, but indigenous communities are resisting in northwest Mexico. What is happening is very similar to Standing Rock. The difference is actually Mexico, has adopted the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, which includes the principle of free, prior, and informed consent from Indigenous peoples on projects affecting them. Something that we sort of have in America, but not really. Canada kind of has it, but not really. So this is very interesting because it is this pipeline. I've been talking about this for a while. Because this pipeline thing, they're going to try to do it all over the place. And anybody that thinks this won't affect them, just wait till it leaks. There's, as I've talked about, Keystone Pipeline, 5,000 barrels of, that's over 210,000 gallons of oil leaked near Sioux Falls, South Dakota, about a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago. And that will affect you. That will affect your drinking water. This isn't just a indigenous people's issue or an American issue or a Canadian or a Mexican issue. This is a human health issue. If you think oil won't contaminate drinkable water, then just go drink some oil and see how it feels. One of the things I want to point out too, this article that I'm was in DeSmog, which is clearing the PR pollution that clouds the climate science. The link is below. It's written by Steve Horn. It came out Tuesday, January 2nd. So I'll give you some backstory, some little history, just as I'm learning it too about, I did not know this about Mexico's laws, but Mexico privatized its oil and gas resources in 2013. Border crossing pipelines, including those owned by Sempra Energy and TransCanada, have come under intense scrutiny and legal challenges, particularly from indigenous peoples. Opening up the spigot for U.S. companies to sell oil and gas in Mexico was a top priority for the Obama State Department, with Hillary Clinton as the Secretary of State. Pro-fracking, oh, how could you not vote for Hillary? What are you supporting, Trump and his Nazis? No, I can't vote for another corporatist. I'm not, and that doesn't mean I hate women. I didn't vote for Sarah Palin because of her past voting record and her past policies as governor of Alaska and the corruption that she had already been a part of. Hillary, worse. Not as dumb as Sarah Palin. Hillary Clinton, very smart, very sharp woman. Sarah Palin's dumb, but Hillary, more evil. So the Yaqui tribe is challenging Sempra Energy's Agua Prieta pipeline between Arizona and the Mexican state of Sonora. The Yaquis in the village of Loma de Bácum claim that the Mexican government has failed to consult with them adequately as required by Mexican law. Well, let's hope the Mexican government isn't bought and paid for by oil companies like they are in the United States. Under Mexico's new legal approach to energy, pipeline project permits require consultations with indigenous peoples living along pipeline routes. In addition, Mexico supported the adoption, as I said, of the United Nations thing. So, of course, white people have that right in America, like when Bismarck, North Dakota said, we don't want this pipeline near us because if it leaks, it could contaminate our water and hurt our children. Oh, so the pipeline won't go by there, but we'll stand it, the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, we'll send it over their land because, they don't have the same rights. That's exactly what happened. And then when the corporate media was reporting on the Standing Rock, oh, the protesters are becoming violent, and the only body using violence at Standing Rock were the cops dressed in full military riot gear. That's who was being violent. Agua Prieta, slated to cross the Yaqui River, was given the okay by 7 of 8 Yaqui tribal communities, but the Yaquis based in Loma de Bácum have come out against the pipeline passing through their land, going as far as chopping out a 25-foot section of pipe built across it. The Yaquis of Loma de Bácum say they were asked by community authorities in 2015 if they wanted a 9-mile tract of the pipeline running through their farmland and said no. Construction went ahead anyway. Bloomberg reported in a December 2017 story, the project is now in legal limbo. Loma, the Sempra unit that operates the pipeline, is awaiting a judicial ruling that could allow them to go in and repair it or require a costlier reroute. As the legal case plays out in the Supreme Court justice in Mexico, disagreements over the pipeline and its construction in Loma de Bácum have torn the community apart and even led to violence, according to Sempra Noticias. I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly. My apologies. Construction of the pipeline, quote, has generated violence ranging from clashes between the community members themselves to threats to Yaqui leaders and women of the same ethnic group, defenders of human rights of indigenous peoples and of the land. Oh, look at that. Look what they're going after. The protesters. That's the same tactic they used at Standing Rock. They explain that there have been car fires and fights that have ended in homicides. Some women in the community have had to stay in places they consider safe on the recommendation of the Yaquis authorities of the town of Bácum, because they have received threats after opposing signing the collective permit for the construction of the pipeline. Oh, look at that. They said, we're not signing this, and then the threats come out. I bet you the people threatening them were at the very least paid by the oil companies, because that's what they do. TransCanada, they're behind the Keystone pipeline. And TransCanada is Alberta-based. They're also facing permitting issues in Mexico for its U.S. to Mexico gas pipelines. According to a December 17 story published in National Gas Intelligence, TransCanada's proposed Tuxpan-Tula pipeline is facing opposition from the Indigenous Otomi community living in the Mexican state of Puebla. With Tuxpan-Tula, TransCanada hopes to send natural gas from Texas to Mexico via an underwater pipeline named an underwater pipeline. So that oil derrick that blew up, 5 years ago in the Gulf of Mexico, millions of gallons of oil contaminating large portions of the Gulf of Mexico. Still marine life is dying as a result of that. What are we going to learn? And then I hear some people, some Twitter, some Trumpers yeah, I need oil for my gas guzzling truck. Ha ha, take that. Are you dumb? Do you want to die? Do you want your children to be poisoned by this? It's madness. It's madness. So, at least these indigenous communities are fighting and taking legal action. They tried to do that with Standing Rock, and they were unsuccessful by suing the United States government, which they should do. But I'll leave you with this last quote from Ramses Peck, CEO of the energy analysis group Cariva y Asociados. He told National Gas Intelligence that what is new in Mexico is the requirement that indigenous communities should be consulted. That kind of consultation has long been part of any project in the U.S. and other countries, but not so here. It wasn't really used in America. It was obviously needed in Mexico too, but it has added to the complexities of the Mexican legal system in areas such as land and rights of way. Hats off to these indigenous communities for fighting for this. This is what we're all going to have to. If you think this is just an indigenous or Native American issue, you're wrong. Drinkable water is an issue. If you think this is just some bunch of hippies, go talk to the people in Flint, Michigan. See what they think. See what's going on in Sioux Falls, South Dakota with that oil spill. How's that affecting people's water? We got to resist at every turn, and this is why I say vote with your dollars and get off of oil any way that you possibly can. It's why I bought an electric car, which I know is not the ultimate fix, but it's a step in the right direction, and I haven't bought gas since November 13th. So thanks for supporting the show. And thanks for staying involved and participating and fighting on a local level like many of you are doing.